Greetings, humbling world. How is everyone out there?
Afternoon or
How are you doing?
Very, very good. How are you?
I'm tumbling, man. I'm just tumbling through space, bro.
We just can't help
Yeah,
ourselves.
I'm doing all right though. But yeah, still tumbling in a nice way though, in an orderly fashion, you know, rhythmically and harmonically tumbling, you know.
Yes, it's you know, it's the way forward. It's the only way forward, really. Let's face it.
It's all the ways, isn't it? We're being pulled in all directions at once, you know. But I suppose we're ultimately spiraling along towards the great attractor. Jack Hole.
It's funny you say that, because when we were talking about that last week, I looked into this a bit more, and I need to look into the thing that I found a bit more. But you probably already know this, but I don't think we mentioned it last week. After the great attractor, that in of itself is being attracted to Shapley's supercluster. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Shapley's supercluster. Wow, what's going on in there?
It's allegedly what's beyond. This is the thing I need to delve a bit deeper.
That'd be a great band name, Shapley's supercluster.
Yeah, it's got that kind of vibe to it, hasn't it? But yeah, it's apparently the thing that's even attracting the great attractor. So
even sexier than Jack Hole.
I mean, it's beyond
Shapley,
yeah. S-H
unknown, a massive cosmic force. You know, what could it be? A vortex?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe it's the
four-dimensional vortex.
It's the black hole. It's the center of the big, the universal black hole. Maybe, I don't know.
They say black holes are the center of galaxies, right?
Well, they say that's what they reckon, isn't it? That ultimately it is like there's just one, as well as there being other black holes, smaller ones in the universe. There's like one giant one that we're all kind of heading into. This is my understanding. That's a theory, anyway.
I think that's the best place we could be, though. Black hole.
Spaghetti.
Have you seen that movie? What's that awesome movie? Interstellar.
Oh, you're not going to say Event Horizon, because I know you don't like that movie.
No, I mean it's an astonishing piece of work, but I can't watch it again. It's dark. And it rings true. Actually, it brings up an occultist sort of idea that there is a hell dimension. You know.
This is it. Yeah, I mean, it's
through scientific means. It's a fascinating idea. Great idea for a story. It's terrible. It's a horrifying. And there's an uncensored version. Have you heard about that? Obviously.
What? Sorry,
the uncensored version.
No, I didn't know.
I might have seen. Piqued my curiosity, so I had to look into that. And
is it just called extended version or something like that?
No, it hasn't been released. There are scenes that I like. I mean, I can't even watch it. It's so graphic. Do you love that movie? I mean, you can handle it.
What event? Yeah, usually. I mean, Event Horizon, I saw like maybe 2 or 3 times. I was going to say about Interstellar. That's one I need to watch again, because I've only seen it once. I do need to watch that.
Because at the end, he's in the 4-dimensional hyperreality. That's the library. That's exactly what that is. Yeah. That movie is so timely because it explains exactly what I'm kind of talking about.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, what year did it come out as well? What, 2009? Was it 2009 or was it further back than that? 2009? Remember now. But it's around the time.
Who's on the Google search? I mean, one of us is going to look it up, aren't we? So,
I'm already doing it. 2014 it was actually.
2014. I was late because we were already talking about 4-dimensional.
I was going to say that after, isn't it?
So this kind of was like, I think that whatever we did, our shit posts and effort posts and what we did on the internet back in the day, it sort of influenced discourse and entertainment. But the thing is, they're peeling away from all of this conspiracy and stuff, and that's why there's no good movies now, because they've got nothing to talk about, because everything that's art has to be anchored in truth. And if you live, this is because we were talking about this last week, weren't we? How there's all the good movies that came out in 96 and 97.
Oh God, yeah,
unbelievable! Like a generation worth of movies in 1 year. And how shit movies are now and how they're all flopping.
Yeah.
So it's because they can't anchor in truth. That's like that latest Robert Pattinson movie, Mickey 17, which kind of should have been a hit. I mean, it's got Robert Pattinson in, but because people don't want to be politically fucking talked down to by the Democrat in disguise. Do you know what I mean? All that stuff. Do you see that? Do you see Mickey 17?
I've seen the name. So basically, in terms of movies, I haven't seen it. Anything post sort of late 23, I need to catch up on, basically. So I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. But the point is that the movies don't succeed now because they're not based in truth. So like like when we would like doing all,
it's got Mark Ruffalo in it. Jesus Christ. Okay.
But there was even like a whole slew of movies that came out trying to like get in on the conspiracy movement, like 2012, that one, because that was all based on the sort of the web-based sort of slightly historic Mayan calendar stuff. But Hollywood used to be responsive to that internet discourse, is what I'm saying, and that's when they were kind of still creative, and now they can't no longer deal with that, and they're all just Democrats, lefty commies in disguise. They've got nothing to talk about. You know what I mean?
I still think the best conspiracy theory themed movie that probably I've seen, and it may be because I saw it when I was on Magic Mushrooms, that might have affected my view of it, but it certainly affected my view of it, like technically. But yeah, it's actually called Conspiracy Theory. Do you remember with Mel Gibson?
Yeah, it's a superb movie. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I need to watch that again, actually.
Great rewatch, yeah.
But again, 1997, it's classic 90s.
That was a 97. I can't believe it. So much came out, yeah.
It's just one after another. Like whatever we're talking about, whatever topic, whether it's conspiracy, whether it's space, whether it's something completely different, you find all the best movies in the 90s, pretty much.
So I've got one of them banana vapes at the moment because I went to my mate's house and I saw a good friend of mine and his family and three lovely children and three lads and a great laugh, like Uncle JJ's back, just nice time. And watched the Eubank Conor Benn fight, Eubank Jr. fight. And I picked up, he likes his vapes. And I've got one of them banana vapes. I don't know what you think about such things.
I've never, since I actually managed to quit smoking cigarettes a long time ago, it's never even something that's crossed my mind, to be honest with you. So
they're going to ban them then. It's a symbol of freedom. We should stockpile these things, They're banning them, yeah.
But it's not long since it's been touted as the sort of alternative to smoking, wasn't it? I thought that was kind of the point, well, half the point anyway, that it was like this better, quote unquote, better alternative to smoking, which apparently isn't, because it's just different kinds of shit chemicals.
But yeah, apparently June 1st they're banning this little thing I've got in my hand, this banana disposable vape. I don't use them because otherwise you're sucking on this like you're sucking on air. You can just have it all the time. I go around there and I usually cane the whole one in the night and drinking and watching boxing and cane a whole one. But I've still got some left over. But it's I
have had tokes on one. I've got a friend of mine who I'm not sure if he does them now still, but he was down last July actually. This is quite a while ago, and I had a few tokes on it then. I mean, it seemed all right, but as I say, because I'm out the habit now, well out the habit of having cigarettes. It's not something that whole process of, having smoking something or toking something, whatever it is. I'm just kind of out of that now, thankfully. But I can't believe they're actually banning them from the UK or England or whatever in a month. That's crazy.
Yeah, effectively, it looks like that now. Yeah,
that's mad.
Banning the production and disposal
of anything.
Banning the sale. Yeah,
it's crazy, isn't it?
Aimed at children's health.
We'll just ban it for kids then. Why are you banning it for adults? I don't know.
They will just smoking will just be illegal one day. We won't be able to smoke. It'd be kind of weird. It's like what they do. What they're trying to do is they're peeling back hundreds of years of freedoms that we had, in the matter of years. They're reversing hundreds of years, and at this rate, we've been smoking for 400 years as a culture and global civilization, and they'll just stop us doing that. You know what I mean? Yeah, people who are smoking in the street,
It already seems a weird thought that not so long ago, relatively speaking, you could just sort of sit in the I have a memory of when I used to, before I was in my proper gym routine stuff, I'd go home, to the local pub after work, and you could just sit inside the pub with your feet up, smoking a cigarette. That just seems so alien now to think you could do that. It wasn't even that long ago.
So I've got my idiot of the week. What would we call it? Escape from Idiot Land.
Yeah, it was Escape from Idiot. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Have you found an idiot this week?
Yeah, it's like a group of idiots and one idiot. Yeah, you go with yours first.
All right. Well, I'll just explain my idiot of the week. What was the feature called? Get me out of Idiot Land. News from Idiot Land.
I think it was definitely Meanwhile. I think it was Meanwhile
in Idiot Land.
Yeah. That's it.
So
No, that is right.
Jordan Peterson is my idiot of the week.
So is this the clip from? Because I saw a clip of him on Joe Rogan's show talking about what the right had been taken over or whatnot.
I'm just going to bring this clip up of him, actually. Yeah, what he's done is he's basically become this Zio stooge. So now he had dinner with Netanyahu, and ever since then he's accusing people who disagree with him on Israel foreign policy as being mentally ill.
Right. I saw he put.
He was in Joe Rogan's show, and he basically. Have you heard of a guy called Nick Fuentes?
Oh yeah, I know Nick Fuentes. Yeah.
Have you heard of the Groypers? What they used to do?
The what? Sorry.
The Groypers.
Not sure.
The Groyper movement. They used to go into people's YouTube channels, like they'd go into CNN or they'd go into like anyone who was a commentator in politics or BBC or anything. And they would say, why aren't you talking about Israel? Why aren't you talking about, Gaza? Or they would just say, who really rules the world? And they would just say, why are you deflecting? And so he sort of had this sort of army of internet people who would raid streams. And there were thousands. I mean, in fact, we were all part of that back in the day. We were all part of this sort of Groyper thing. We all were active on the internet, social media, and YouTube, and we were all commentating because we had free speech, and you'd get thousands and thousands of views for your comments on YouTube and stuff. So there was a time when we actually had control of the. But what's happening is there's a repositioning since Jordan Peterson has got in bed with Netanyahu in Israel. He's decided that anyone in the right wing who criticizes Israel foreign policy in Gaza is mentally ill or a psychopath.
So that's where the psychopath thing comes from, because I must have missed that little part of it, actually, because I know he was saying about psychopaths. I wasn't actually sure of the entire context. I didn't watch all the interview.
I've got this bit with Jimmy Dore, actually. The Jimmy Dore show is pretty good. I recommend this. He's got the clip here. I'll just see if I can play this. See, tell me if you can hear this.
Okay.
So Jordan Peterson
can you hear that?
went on Fox after that.
Yeah.
And he accuses anybody who, this is from Chernovich. So I think Chernovich is on the right side of the Israel question. Am I wrong about this?
I don't know. I haven't seen him in a long time, but I remember him saying it seemed anti-Semitic to say Epstein was working for Israel.
Oh, really?
So, but, I don't know. He does what he feels. So.
Well, here, terrorism. Let's listen. Hang on, what happened?
So this is Peterson, I think. He's trying to put the clip. Yeah, Peterson's coming up.
Okay.
Well, I think the most important thing to do first is to draw a distinction between the political and the psychological, and not to collapse them together. So imagine this. Imagine that there's a group of individuals, about 4% of the population, who have a set of personality characteristics that have been described as dark tetrad. So they're Machiavellian, they use their language to manipulate, they're narcissistic, they want unearned social status and reputation.
Let me just pause there. So did you hear what Jordan Peterson said? He's talking about narcissistic individuals, psychopathic. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard that. And he's also talking about...
Who do you think he's talking about then? I mean, what kind of people do you think... do you think he's going to... Where's he going to go? Where's he going to pivot from this statement? About?
Is he meaning people like sort of Ben Shapiro or that kind of ilk?
Well, he wouldn't say that about Ben Shapiro. But you think, to me, who are the most psychopathic, narcissistic people in the world? They're like our rulers, right? They're like
the hierarchy. Right? Yeah.
So where's he going to pivot? I'll just keep playing this.
They're psychopathic, which makes them free of empathy and parasitical and predatory, and they're sadistic. So they take positive delight in the unnecessary suffering of others. Now, those people also use false cries of victimization, let's say, to manipulate, and they're entitled.
That sounds exactly like Israel. It sounds exactly like Benjamin Netanyahu. It sounds exactly like the Zionists. They're the victims. Anti-Semitism, they're the victims.
He shows up with his dry cleaning and draws a cartoon picture of a bomb to show to Congress.
Seek vengeance when it's unwarranted, and they protest loudly and make very public cries for reparations that would be self-serving. Okay, now the way
Isn't that what Israel, the whole Israel project is reparations for World War II? Isn't that the whole? Am I wrong about this, Kurt? Isn't that the whole idea that they needed a safe
I
place?
guess we didn't want to make it official because it doesn't make sense that.
They're so narcissistic.
No, I see. I would skip on to a bit more if he says a bit more.
is they look
That Kurt
for
Metzler
what
that he's with.
work through exactly the
I
same
just hang on.
sort.
What's that?
Is that Kurt Metzler that he's with? He's
I don't know who's Kurt Metzler.
Kurt Metzler is quite. I follow him on Twitter. He's quite a decent sort of political.
Oh, really?
commentator.
Anyway, here we go.
It is they look for what patterns of belief form groups that they can infiltrate and then capitalize on. And that happens on the right. We did a report, the same group, on the use of Christ as king as a manipulative strategy.
So now he's saying Christian. He's saying that. Did you get that there, Future Shock?
Yeah, I was listening to it. Yeah,
He's saying now that these people, these so-called psychopathic narcissists, they're using Christ as king as a sort of emblem to unite them. So he's like saying Christians now are this is Jordan flipping Peterson. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, it's a bit odd.
He was like, he wasn't quite out guy, but he's like his work in psychology and stuff. He was like kind of adjacent to what some of us were doing, you know. But now he's just because he's had dinner with Netanyahu. He's turning on the right, and he's making them look like they're the psychopathic. They're the problem in the world. It's ridiculous, right?
Well, I didn't know that he'd actually had that dinner, to be honest with you. So, I mean,
I'll
when
find a picture.
was that? When was
I'll
it?
just look that up. I'll just play this a bit more. Yeah, I'll look it up.
Right? Bad actors, hypothetically on the right, and
So is he saying Candace Owens a bad actor? She's a psychopath who infiltrates because she claims Christ as king, her religion.
And of course, Candace Owens was famously fired from Ben Shapiro's
Yeah,
20th
you
Century
know what?
Wire, right?
Before I said Shapiro because of his sort of blind loyalty originally, but my first thought when you asked me that was Candace Owens, actually, funnily enough. Yeah.
they're wolves in sheep's clothing who look for where there's
He's like an inquisitor, man. This is crazy, right?
Yeah.
This is a real idiot, man. This guy's a real idiot. What are you doing, Peterson? But 1 minute he's in a drugs or like overdose in Russia or something. I mean, what's going on with him anyway? I mean, he's a weird guy, right?
Well, he has these mad problems with benzodiazepines, doesn't he, in terms of like coming off them and stuff. So he's been on them for so long. Despite the fact that he's preaches about the carnivore diet, like curing everything. But there we go.
I'll try and look at that Netanyahu thing, yeah?
Yeah, I mean,
power and value.
I can see why he would say that about if he's looking at it from his, the perspective he's describing. I can see why he would dig out someone like Candace Owens.
And then adopt those beliefs as a surface camouflage so that they can elevate their moral status. Now, and this has become worse in recent years as far as I'm concerned, because the evolved strategies that we have for dealing with these psychopathic types, psychopathic narcissistic types, don't work well online. And so the psychopaths can get away with their terrible manipulations online, and they can find like-minded people, and they can escape from any reputational consequences. And so there's always been psychopaths. Those are the Pharisees, for example, that Christ points to, the religious pretenders. Those are the people who use God's name in vain and claim moral virtue and even religious devotion, while all they're doing is feathering their own nests and furthering their own narrow interests. And the web, social media, anonymity, enables them to organize and also hides them much more effectively. And this is a problem in religious organizations, it's a problem in political organizations, and it pathologizes the whole culture. Most people, 80% of Americans agree on virtually everything. And then there's these fringe people, and they're not political. They're psychopathological narcissists who cloak themselves in political guise. And we all have to learn to distinguish between the political and the psychological. We're not good at it.
So here's what Glenn Greenwald says. How come Rumesa...
So we have to now, political and the psychological and political, we have to split those. So when we're talking to someone who's got certain views, you supposedly have to psychoanalyze them and think about them psychologically. Could they be a psychopath because they're right wing? So he's falling step in line with the global communist agenda completely there. What do you think?
yeah, it's weird to see what he's been sort of like. It's weird to see the kind of change in him. This is why I asked, like, when did he have dinner with Netanyahu? Because I've noticed changes in him and sort of gone off a lot of what he's been saying in the past couple of years or so. So I don't know if this dinner happened very recently or whether it's like a bit back in time, is it? Also, if you just give me 1 minute, I've got like a little cable problem here. I've got some interference at my end. If you just give me, I don't know if you want to just talk about that for a minute. I'll be back. I just need to sort it out.
All right. Well, I'll go on about something else. I'll go on about something that's coming up quite soon.
Just give me 1 minute. Sorry.
All right, no problem. So June the 11th is what's called the Major Lunar Standstill, and it's an 18.6 year cycle. It's very important. It's like there are so many megalithic and prehistoric monuments that were built to commemorate the 18.6 Major Lunar Standstill. It's called standstill because solstice is what a standstill is. It's like the sun stands still. So there's it's called a major lunar standstill. And in the same way that the sun stands still on the occasion of the winter solstice, when the sun is at the minimum angle of minus 23.5 degrees south of the equator. I've actually got a song to play. Actually, do you know what? I've got a song that I've written my mate because it explains all this a lot better than all this sort of stuff. So I'm just going to play a tune and just give us a second.
Thea is one of the Titans,
Right.
and the mother of Selene, the god.
Okay, do this and then do this. Listen to this.
Our moon was created 4.5 billion years ago by a collision between an earlier, smaller version of the planet Earth and a Mars-sized planet known as Thea. In the Greek myth, Thea was one of the Titans and the mother of Selene, the goddess of the moon. Before the collision, Thea had been orbiting the Sun at one of the stable Lagrange points, until a rare conjunction of the planets exerted unusual gravitational forces to make it break free of its stable orbit and to begin its inexorable collision course with the proto-Earth. Unlike the Earth, which was born in the hot inner solar system, Thea originated in the outer solar system and so carried quadrillions of tons of ice. And in the chaos of the high energy impact in the vacuum of space, this settled on Earth as its water. The moon moderates the wobble of the Earth as it spins, without which the seasons would be extreme and unpredictable, making farming and human habitation impossible. The Earth's axial rotation would also be much faster without the gravitational pull of the moon, and our day would only be 6 to 12 hours long. Earth is tilted at an angle of 23.5 degrees as it rotates on its polar axis, relative to its orbital or the ecliptic plane of the Sun. It's this which is responsible for our seasons, the climate, and what we observe as the two solstices of the Sun. The beautiful dance of automatic precision, the planets and stars move along their finely trammeled tracks. But where is the watchmaker? The winter solstice takes place when the Sun is at its maximum angle of declination, 23.5 degrees south of the equator, while the summer solstice is the Sun at its maximum angle of declination, 23.5 degrees north of the equator. At the spring and autumn equinox, the angle of obliquity from our point of observation to the Sun is 0 degrees, and the days and nights have equal length. Solstice means solar standstill, and the Sun appears to stand still as the position of its rising and setting doesn't change for a few days as the midsummer or midwinter peak is reached. Just as a single orbital period of the Sun has 2 solstices a year, there are also 2 solstices during the orbital period of the lunar month. In addition to the 23.5 degree tilt of the Earth, the Moon's orbit around the Earth is also tilted 5.14 degrees. The major lunar standstill occurs when the maximum obliquity of the Earth to the Sun's ecliptic plane is combined with that of the Moon to the Earth's, which makes a maximum obliquity of 28.64 degrees. Since there are 2 lunar solstices a month, we will have a maximum summer lunastice and a maximum winter lunastice in the same month. The Moon will appear remarkable, rising higher even than the summer solstice sun at midday, and the full moon will shine, giving uncanny illumination to the night. 2 weeks later, the moon will rise lower than the midday sun of the winter solstice, and over the course of several hours will slowly caress the distant horizon. And people will ask, what is happening to the moon? Ancient monuments commemorate and predict aspects of these cycles. New Grange in Ireland was built to align with the sunrise of the winter solstice, where for 17 minutes, sunlight enters through a roof box opening above the entrance to send a shaft of light to gradually illuminate the long inner chamber. At Carrickeel in County Sligo, light from the summer solstice sunset passes through Kernche's roof box to travel to the back of the chamber, illuminating in turn 3 different recessed tombs, as well as 2 large, upright standing stones. The Greek 1st century BC writer Diodorus Siculus in Book 2 of his Bibliotheca Historica wrote, "In the regions beyond the land of the Celts, there lies in the ocean an island no smaller than Sicily. This island is situated in the north and is inhabited by the Hyperboreans. The following legend is told concerning it. Leta, the mother of Zeus and Apollo, was born on this island, and for that reason Apollo is honoured among them above all other gods. There is also on the island both a magnificent sacred precinct of Apollo and a notable temple, which is adorned with many votive offerings and is spherical in shape. The account is also given that the god visits the island every 19 years, the period in which the return of the stars to the same place in the heavens is accomplished. At the Neolithic ritual site of Callanish on the island of Lewis in the far north of Scotland, beyond the stone circle lies a range of hills, which are suggestive of a woman lying down. They are known locally as the Sleeping Beauty, but also known as the Old Woman of the Moors. Inside the stone circle are 4 significant stones: a phallic quartz stone, which has a white quartz deposit at the top, and a seam of quartz running down its length; a triangular stone symbolizing the maiden or virgin; a rough stone representing the crone or old woman; and a red stone representing the mother, which glows red at sunset. At the peak of the major lunar standstill, the moon rises at the feet of the Sleeping Beauty to slowly move horizontally, hovering over the hills and making contact with the stones. The moon touches the maiden stone, moves along to the mother stone, then touches the tip of the phallic male stone, being symbolically fertilized by the male energy, and continues along the body of the Sleeping Beauty before finally reaching the crone or old woman stone. A local belief says at certain times in the midsummer morning the Shining One walks along the stone avenue, and that her arrival is heralded by the call of a cuckoo.
I didn't realize your song was going to be so long.
Yeah, it's
The moon was
quite.
created 4.5
I didn't
million
know.
years
I
ago
know.
by a collision between an earlier
Oh, you rewowed it. Oh, no.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't know how long you would recover for. But basically, what I started to do, I started to read out this stuff, and I realized I've actually got a version of that John recorded, and it's put it to music, so I'll just play that instead. It's actually,
So does it mean that, like, so as far as I'm understanding from it, obviously it's kind of like an extreme position for both, and both bodies, celestial bodies, and they're saying, and you'd say that, like, if it was like that all the time, the seasons would be a lot different. But I mean, is it because I think they sort of stay in this position for like a year or so, isn't it? So does that mean we're supposed to have like more like unlikely or sort of weird events, like whilst they're at this angle? Is that kind of, you're supposed to have like some sort of
no, it has effects on the weather, and there is there is a theory that kind of that every 11.5 years there are sort of cataclysmic events, tsunamis and earthquakes and things. I've actually got a list of those. I just need to find my list.
The Japanese tsunami, that was like 09, I think, wasn't it? I think it was 09. So that was like 16 years ago. There wasn't one a little bit more recently as well. I can't think where, not in Japan, but somewhere else. I can't think.
Well, it has an effect because it's I'll show you. I'm going to show a few videos in a minute that are going to show what the effect of the moon and how it will change. It will be. I don't know if the song really explained it, but every 8.6 years, the moon will. It was seen as a visitation of a goddess back in the day. They called it Apollo or the god, and it seems symbolically returning to Earth every 8.6 years. And this is why they built these sort of stone circles and sort of
Stonehenge,
Neolithic monuments. I think it's a very interesting topic. I think no one knows about it, and it's something that's quite cool because a lot of I'll show a few videos right now actually because I don't know. There's not a lot of point talking when a video will actually show what the thing we're talking about is. I'm just going to share those. Let's do that in a second. So the first video, we're going to show, I mentioned New Grange and Carrickeel, where in the instance of New Grange in the winter solstice, it's in this instance it's the sun, but it illuminates. I believe it's the sun that illuminates an inner chamber. This is New Grange. I'll just show you this.
You have a cool one in San Francisco as well. I think everyone gathers at a certain time of the year. I can't remember it, but the sun just is in an exact position through a very long road that goes up the hill, and it's just like the sun shines straight down the road. There's lots of famous pictures taken of that position. So it's quite impressive. It kind of goes back to what we were saying as well last week about, we were talking about, it's a bit like what we were talking about last week when we were talking about, like, we got into a bit about like sort of horoscopic type things in terms of like the reality of it, and we were saying about, or I was saying anyway, about how it's understandable that the giant planets like Jupiter, Saturn can still have an influence on Earth, regardless of whether they're so far away, just because of their giantness. And so, this is kind of like how the moon, which is obviously much closer, much smaller, is having an effect. So it's kind of like it's showing the spectrum, isn't it, of effect?
Yeah, I'm having a bit of a technical issue right now. I'm trying to share that video, and let's see if it works this time.
Which
you see that?
I can't see anything.
Oh, hang on. Try now. Is it still not working?
But I can't see.
Oh, okay.
What site? Which site are you using it from?
I don't know. I can't seem to share to the screen because it's got the banner on it. So that's pretty. I don't know, it's weird because I've shared it before though. Okay. Oh, that's a bit messed up.
No, it should be able to work if there's no. Regardless of whatever the banner is in the background. So that's a bit of a weird one.
Yeah.
What was it about? Sorry.
So what's that?
What were you saying? What was the video going to show? Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, this is going to show the major 18.6 major lunar standstill, and what it does is it's Carrickeel. It's in northern Scotland, and it's sort of it's too bad I can't show the video because the moon sort of it hovers around the horizon, and these stone. It's mentioned in the song. These stone quartz, like a stone circle. So one of them is like the virgin stone, one of them's the mother stone. And so symbolically the moon rises and the hills behind are called the Sleeping Beauty. And they look like a pregnant woman lying on her back. So this the moon was this 18.6 year fertility cycle, I suppose. So it would rise over the virgin stone, and then it would be like it would interact with the quartz phallic stone. And these sort of obelisks, they had like sort of, should we say, tactical deposit of white quartz at the top and running down the side, kind of suggestive of something. Do you know what I mean?
Is this Callanays? Is it called the place in Scotland? Did you say?
Yeah. So this is it. Yeah. So there's several different sites actually which commemorate different things.
I don't know. I was looking at one, see if I could get a video. Maybe we could try.
Yeah.
We share that way, but I'm not sure if it's.
Can you share it on your end?
I'm not sure if it's the right one though. It says Kalanish, Sacred Moon.
Yeah, Kalanish. Try that one. Yeah, it's Kalanish. Yeah, it's the Major Luda Standstill. Can you try and find that? See if you can share it.
Maybe it's this. You were saying it's kind of like it shows. Yeah. I think this might be one. Hang on, one sec. Let me just try and give you this one. Oops, I need to get the thing up. See if we can see that. Just bear with me one sec. Here's Kalanish. Share. I'm not sure if you'd be able to share that. We'll give it a try.
Oh, yeah. Let's see if that works.
I think this is basically going to show the pathway of the moon across there.
Okay, I've added you, but nothing's happened, has it?
No.
Yeah, something's a bit wrong with the stream. Actually, it's a bit of a disaster. I don't know why we can't share anything whatsoever to the screen now.
That's okay. So note for future reference, then just keep it to our usual sort of like traveling through space background for now, because that was working obviously before, wasn't it? But,
so yeah, what? So hang on, let's try. We're traveling through space. Where is that? Not that one, right?
Yeah, that's another. So that's a JPEG, isn't it? So go to the bit where it says, is it backgrounds? So it should be in the backgrounds list. Where is it? Not logged into StreamYard as such.
Add background. Hang on. Yeah, I don't know what happened. The background I've shown it, but it's not. Yeah, that's gone a bit awry. Okay, so anyway, listen. What about your idiot of the week? Oh, he's gone. Oh, you've gone. You disappeared from the stage. What happened there?
Yeah, I thought I might try to log in on StreamYard and it kind of messed up. But I'm back now. You can hear me, yeah?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So my idiot land person is a bear. Well, it's not a bear, not a real bear, but basically, I can't share the screen now, can I? It's a shame because it's funny watching the CCTV. But basically, it was this a group of people. I think it's maybe just a couple. I'm not sure. But basically, they tried to do an insurance scam.
I've done it, man. We've got it. We've done the magic. We've got the video back, man. Look, here we go. So get your bear up, man.
Well, hang on. Let me just get.
Yeah, all right. Well, should I put Kalane on then?
Yeah, you do yours, and we'll come back to the bear.
All right. Okay. So this is it. This is this one. So summer solstice in Kawakil, where the rays of the sun penetrate into the inner chamber. In a second.
So was it the one I shared?
Yeah. I'm going to beat you to it, man. Here we go. Right. Oh, the power of showing video. Wow.
It just doesn't make any sense why the back. I don't know why the change of backgrounds makes a difference. Anyway. Techno.
Actually, this isn't even what I want to see. This isn't the one. What I'll show. This is all it is. It's 11-second clip actually, and it's the way the sun moved through what they call the box.
This is a walk with sheep. This is not what we want.
Yeah, this is no good, man. Let's go. Let's get rid of the sheep.
It'd be nice to do some mushrooms in that countryside, though. I must say, I'm, as people may become aware, a big advocate of magic mushrooms in countryside settings or natural environments, things like that, beaches, woods, forests. It's a very optimal thing to do.
Yeah, my friend, he had magic mushroom chocolate. Have you heard of that?
Oh yeah, like a little brownie or something.
No, you can buy it, but it's quite expensive. I think it's about £30, and you get like squares of chocolate, and you have to have like about 4 squares. But they've got psilocybin mushrooms in them.
Where did you get them from? What, abroad?
I don't know. He got them. He told me he was tripping. Like when I saw him, he'd just been tripping the night before on this mushroom chocolate. You know. And he said it had gone rotten in his sock drawer, in his mate's sock drawer, and it tasted the cheese. But he ate it anyway. And he still got high, but it was pretty nasty. You not heard of that? I thought you'd be well upon that side.
I've heard of things like it being like in brownies and stuff like this. I mean, I know it is put in lots of random things. I think I've heard of flapjacks as well. They put it in flapjacks. We used to put it in omelets because it got to the point where
omelets.
For those that don't know who are listening, back in the day, in about circa mid noughties, a very nice time to be alive and be like 20 years old. You could still go down to Camden Market, and there would be an actual market, a sub market, just for magic mushrooms. So you'd like take a right out the station, you saunter down for a bit, and on your right there would be like at least between 5 and 10 stalls where you could just go and buy your own magic mushrooms. Such was the legal situation at the time. And yeah, it got to the point you could, if you're having a small amount, you can get away with eating them like raw. But it got to the point where we were going back almost every weekend, and your resistance builds up quite quickly. I say every weekend, maybe that's an exaggeration, but it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say like every third weekend. I think that's more accurate. So it's still quite regular. But it got to the point where we were just like so resistant, we'd have to buy so much. You'd have to cloak them in food. So we would like cook massive omelets and stuff like this. And the problem is, and then you douse it with like barbecue sauce and tomato sauce and whatever. And the problem is you start to eat it, and then the effects start to take place, and you're sat there, you sort of end up sat there trying to eat the rest of it, trying to eat the full amount, but you're looking down with mushroom eyes now at this massively detailed and yet horrible looking dish of like half-eaten omelet with like just covered in sort of remnants of sauce and magic mushroom.
I think the last thing you need when you're coming up is egg. You don't need more egg. Dealing with egg, I mean, that's no. Forget about that. I'll just fry them up in butter and just scoff them. You
used to what? Sorry,
I'll just fry them in butter and scoff them. I wouldn't get eggs involved.
Like, imagine that. It seemed to work. It worked pretty well. It worked pretty well. It's just a visual of it. At some point, you just had to kind of like plow on a little bit. But yeah,
we always used to end up playing in the midnight in the children's playground at midnight on the roundabout and swings, and it was fun. We used to get the police come in and like they'd have their flashlights, seeing if this what are these lunatics doing. But one time, my friend, she was like a little Indian girl. And we used to do this like quite frequently at Goldsmiths College, every like a lot of weekends, like my girlfriend and another couple. And we used to have something that, is like something that you may take to, change your mind, a little consciousness expansion. But she ended up with 2, and she was off the wall. It was like she was in another dimension. So I mean, do these things take you in another dimension? She kept just saying one thing over and over again. There are beautiful dreams for all of us. It's like she transcended beyond even the moment into the next dimension, because she took 2 by mistake.
It's weird to know what's happening in the sense of, is it just all kind of like the brain's creation? Is it just the fact that there are? Well, look, for example, one thing that is the brain's creation on mushrooms is the fractal effect. So you're seeing fractals. So the brain, part of how it projects out our reality that we see is it has kind of a mesh undergirding. So quite similar to how design works on the computer and stuff, that you generally have like a wire mesh undergirding to most things that you're designing. And so the brain does that essentially with our sort of like visualized reality. And so like essentially, obviously, this is all usually happening at insane speeds and with connections.
Are you telling me you had a good time? Is that what you're trying to say? Or
what you're trying to say is like, what you were saying just then is that like she's in another dimension, and I'm like, well, is it that, or is it just more the fact that the brain's just like?
She was like beatific, beatific, like an angelic. She just had a voice from another dimension, and she just looked at you with such certainty. And you thought she was the one who was in trouble because, like, she's up 2. She's just talking gibberish the whole time, and all she was just saying was she was just smiling at everyone, and there's wonderful dreams for everyone, and it was like a mantra, but it was amazing. It was like, but then we were getting stressed that she'd gone too far, and so then we were getting like deafened out, and we didn't know. Well, I don't know. Just life goes on, but it's like she broke through to the side,
How did
she's only a little girl? She's only small. Like a little Indian woman,
after,
She was quite short. It's just like a double dose, you know, for a quadruple. So, did you get any like massive like revelations about the nature of reality or anything on it? Because that's why you might want to pick mushrooms for a start, you know.
Yeah, I mean, how did she feel like after it had sort of calmed down? Was she just sort of like blissfully coming out of it, sort of thing?
Oh yeah, we should return to reality. Yeah.
What did she think about that? Like, what was her takeaway from the experience? What did she feel about it?
Takeaway. Well, it's funny you mentioned takeaway, because that's what we used to do. We used to have, you know, you were saying about eating the mushrooms with the omelette, right? So we used to just do something else, which we won't mention here, but we did that. But we'd have that and then eat an Indian takeaway, so we wouldn't be hungry, and then we would just, you know, have the experience. But we had four. We had one each, and one of them disappeared. I think we had an extra one. We must have had an extra one, yeah. And one was handed over, and it dropped over the Indian curry. And so, well, never mind. Where's it gone? We don't know. And we thought, we've got a spare one, so we all had one. And then the little Indian girl had the Indian curry, and it turned out that's where it had gone. That's where the extra one had gone, and it had dissolved into Indian curry, and it was still as potent. Can you imagine? So like a little sort of chemical extract dropped into an Indian curry, shall we say? It still has the full force of effect. It's quite sort of strong stuff, you know.
Well, it's kind of interesting because also if you have something that's sort of quite sugary, then that's usually a bad idea on on similar things to mushrooms anyway. So yeah.
Anyway, listen, I've been promising it for so long. This little bit about the winters, the major.
Go on. Yeah.
This should work this time. Yeah, I'll just mute it. I'll mute this, but I don't think we need muting actually. Hang on. So yeah, it's literally a tiny 11-second video, but that's the light. That's the specifically. I mean, most people haven't seen this, so I think what is that? The summer solstice. Only at that particular time on June 21st, the light from the sun reaches the back of that chamber. You know what I mean? That's like something we hear about in Egypt, isn't it? Like Indiana Jones.
What's supposed to be the significance of that? The fact that light just hits a certain part at a certain
time? That's
time.
a good question. You know, that's a very good question. But people don't know what might have been in that building. There may have been some kind of blessing. You know what I mean? Because I've written a novel about that idea. That what it is they find a cure for a plague that's affecting the village, and they get it blessed by the sun. Well, in this instance, in my book, it's the moon. And we'll see about the moon, the major lunar standstill. But yeah, it's pretty. You ask a good question. What is significance? What does that chamber lead to? What was
so
it?
We don't know really the history behind that chamber and why it was built or whatnot.
I mean, there are what appears to be like recesses inside those tombs, and they're called tombs, but presumably, I mean, the idea of those solstices anyway, the winter solstice is to reconnect the living and the dead to the world, to join the worlds together. Do you know what I mean? So this one is, instead of the summer solstice, this one's the winter solstice. I'll just show this. Hang on, bear with. No. Do you want to fill for a minute there, Future Shock? Just
what I was about to say whilst you were doing that was I was just getting my bear insurance scam video ready.
Oh, really? You got the bear insurance scam video?
It's a bit grainy. It's a bit grainy, but you can kind of tell that. I mean, I'll re-explain anyway when we get to it what the story is. But yeah.
Okay, so this is the winter solstice illumination of Newgrange Chamber in Ireland. That's quite famous. You've seen that Newgrange? Do you know about that? I'll get a picture up of it so you can see what.
I've heard the name. I'm not sure much about it though. I've definitely heard of it, but I don't know that much.
Okay, I'll just play this though. Yeah, let's do this. So again, what they called light boxes. So there's a tomb entrance in these tombs, but above that there's a special box, like in stone, that allows that particular time of year frames the sunlight, and this is just the illumination of the inner chamber. But what does it do? Is that all it does? All right. But what I will show finally at the end of this little little segment about the the forces, planetary, the movement of the spheres, as we say. I'll play this. This is pretty good. This is the major lunar standstill, and it's a good little video. 6 minutes long, 7 minutes long, but it's probably got no copyright on it. It's like only got 1,500 subs, but views. But it's a really great video. I'm just going to share that and watch that for 7 minutes. Oh yeah, you got your beer ready? Should I do this and then you do your beer? Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. I think I got beer ready. 1 more month of that to go. 1 more month, and then I can have beer again. But we can
1 more month for what?
Remember, I'm doing the no drinking till June.
Oh yeah, gosh, I can't believe you're keeping up with that. Really.
1 more month to go.
Gosh,
do you know what's been
really
worse?
well.
The diet cravings for food. Like if I try to restrict myself in terms of food, that's harder for me than alcohol. Like the cravings are worse for food. The temptation is worse.
But the thing is, though, there's so many benefits from quitting drinking. I mean, we should say this: we are a healthy channel, right? So
yeah, we are like being alive. Yeah,
you get more energy and stuff in general, and you find that you want to eat more instead of just drinking, to replace eating.
And I think as well, if you're somebody who's thinking about quitting, quote unquote, in some context, alcohol, just do it for a short time and see how it goes. You don't necessarily have to commit to a lifelong. I mean, it depends on your situation, obviously, but you don't necessarily have to say you're going to do it forever. I mean, maybe just try doing it for a couple of months or 3 months and just see how you feel. And like you just alluded to, you might find that, oh, wow, I've got more energy. I'm a bit less muddy in my thoughts. I'm like, a bit more on the ball generally. And you might, that in of itself might be a big step for you. You don't necessarily have to go, oh, I'm going to quit forever, because that in of it, that seems like such a much bigger task. You know what I mean?
And then are you going to go back to standard protocol, standard operating procedure, or are you going to moderate or something like that?
You can much easier moderate if you say to yourself, oh, I'm going to quit for 3 months. Do the 3 months, see the benefit and go, okay, cool, I can drink now. But you know what? Because I've seen the benefit, I am going to take it a bit easier. I'm not going to be as stupid as before. I think that's a better way of doing it, because when you deny it like that, when you're going to try to deny it for the rest of your life, I mean, that's a trickier task,
So have you found something as a substitute? What do you drink instead? What do you reach for instead of a beer or whatever?
Well, because I haven't really been having much of a social life, to be honest. That's part of the reason why I did it at this time of year, because it's a bit easier. So I don't have like particular birthdays or anything like that, apart from my own, which is coming up obviously at the end of it. So yeah, so I haven't really needed to. Do you know what I mean? It's like I've been going.
Are you doing this so you just have like, hang on, the thing is, on your birthday, everyone buys you drinks. So everyone's going to be buying you drinks, and you won't be able to drink them because you'll have such a low tolerance after not drinking.
Oh no, don't worry about
6 weeks. There's 6 weeks you've done.
Yeah, you confuse me with somebody who that would be a problem for. No, I won't be
going to get back straight into it. Yeah?
I mean, maybe I'll be a little bit careful. You forget my Yorkshire roots. Come on, like I'm not going to be on the floor after a couple of Stellas. There's nothing to worry about there.
The old taste's going to come back, and the old liveness in the eyes, and your nostrils are going to go a quiver. And
it's going to be like
that. Back, and you're going to be knocking it back like nuts.
It's really, like that scene. I think it's in Space Odyssey, 2001: Space Odyssey, where the eye dilates. It's like as soon as I have the first sip of vodka or whatever, my eyes just got to go ching. Everything.
Hey, listen, we're going to play that thing for 7 minutes. That thing that I've been talking about. Sorry, let's go. Yeah, let's do this. And then you got your bear. Yeah,
bear is right. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, the upshot of this is it's pretty cool. Like they saw the moon as a god, like visiting Earth, and fecundating the Earth, and through the ministry, as a medium of these stones, which was symbolic. Well, I don't want to talk no more. I'll just play this pretty good little video actually.
sight? Is it a star newborn and splendid, upspringing out of the night? Is it a wave from the fountain of beauty, a flinging foam of delight? Is it a glorious immortal bird that is winging hither its flight? It is a wave high-crested, melodious, triumphant, breaking in light. It is a star, rose-hearted and joyous, a splendor risen from night. It is flame from the world of the gods, and love runs before it, a quenchless delight. Let the wave break, let the star rise, let the flame leap, ours if our hearts are wise. To take and to keep, to take and to keep. Bearers of the ancient wisdom, the secrets of our ancestors are woven into the mantle of your stillness. Within the silence of your being, spanning through the mists of time, linger forgotten stories of our forefathers. The light of their hearts, the strength of their hands, the sound of their voices across the land is only known to you and the stars. And all we can do is wonder. Like a mirror of the sun, you stand here on the earth, veiled by the mystery of your silence. In the turning wheel of time, day and night have danced around you as the sun breathes across the sky throughout the ages. The light of their hearts, the strength of their hands, the sound of their voices across the land is only known to you and the stars. And all we can do is wonder. And
Okay, we're back.
Yo,
What do you think? Did you see the video?
it's a nice countryside.
Yeah, did you see the moon?
I did. I watched the end of that. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think?
I thought my first thought was nice countryside. It reminds me of being back in Yorkshire when growing up as a little boy. Not that we had any stone, monument or anything, unfortunately. But yeah,
Right.
it's just I don't know. Obviously, it's a sort of Stonehenge type thing. Like, why was there so much significance placed on these things? I don't know. If you think about the fact that the people as well who made them are not thinking like us. This is a very different.
Yeah, but they're seeing those moving objects as gods. You know, they're seeing them as that. You know, and then
this is
you
kind
have
of what I'm driving at. Like their consciousness, their understanding of the world, so different back then to us, and how they think about it, and what they think about the moon and the planets and the stars, etc. It's such a different. Like, you obviously we're not going to these days in modern times. You're not really going to build these kind of monuments. Really, it's just not a sort of, not that it would be like the wrong thing to do necessarily. It's just that it's kind of like, it's just not it's not in the sort of like social consciousness, is it, to do those kind of things these days? But back then, it's a completely different way of thinking, isn't it?
yeah, but it's like they didn't see the moon as just sorry, a barren rock. You know what I mean? It fully interacted. We could also say though, it interacted electromagnetically with those people and that civilization. Do you know what I mean? So if it's electromagnetic, because
they may well have been more sensitive to that kind of thing too.
But it is an electromagnetic phenomenon, isn't it? It's like it influences all. So the moon, like, definitely influences us. So it's like them commemorating this. It's like they haven't. It's not as if they weren't. They had obviously they had a really good calendar because they obviously would know. Okay, so you say why do they want to know this? So they could predict eclipses. So because the 18.6 lunar standstill is connected to the eclipse calendar. So if you know the 18.6 calendar, you also can predict the eclipses when they'll arrive because they arrive at this apparent time at the nodes. So it's at a node, so there'll be like eclipses around the node times. Yeah. So this is what the priest could. I mean, I just recently finished playing Lara Croft Tomb Raider, Shadow of Tomb Raider. You know, I like my video games.
Yeah.
And the combination of this is that game is that there's going to be like the world's going to be destroyed, and you have to find the box, the magic thingamagub in the box, to complete the ritual and whatever the ritual is. And it turns out that it's during the eclipse, and there's this box, and you get sort of like illuminated with this light of the eclipse or something. But basically, it's like that's what that held power over people. I mean, even now, even Shadow of the Tomb Raider is kind of like that sort of Mayan magic. We can let the minds, they have magic. It's that kind of Tomb Raider thing. It's like magic exists, but it's just we've stamped it out of us. It's like it's there within the old traditions and old cultures and stuff. But yeah, so playing that with the eclipse and everything, so recently.
I was just going to say that the whole sort of like predicting the moon thing reminds me of that story about Columbus. I don't know if you heard it, where basically because they knew how to predict certain things by the 1500s. So like on this occasion, it's about the blood moon. So basically, he told he was able to sort of like manipulate the people of Jamaica, I think it was, into doing into like meeting his demands, because he predicted that God would make the moon bleed on a certain date. And of course, it's because he knew there was a blood moon. So this date comes around and the moon goes red. And this is apparently and then obviously they think, he knows it. So obviously they didn't figure it out by the sounds of it. But yeah, obviously because he and, people have...
Oh, the bear. I just found your bear. Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
I found that thing about Netanyahu having lunch with Jordan Peterson.
Oh yeah, when was that then?
I'll get the so-called facts. There's a photograph. This is an article, but what is this? 2022, November 15th. So this is kind of like he was in a mess in Russia at one point, wasn't he? Before this, he was, all banged up on Zuma pills.
Yeah, he was supposed to be really fucked up, wasn't he? Yeah.
So, get out. Breaking bread with recently re-elected Israeli Prime Minister, the Ulterior. Right. There's not a lot of sources for this, though. Even AI won't say anything about whether this really happened. So it's something they're keeping quiet. I've got also, let me see if I can post this picture. Banned from student. Hang on. Wait a sec. All right, we'll give you we'll be in your bears in a few seconds. All right, we'll just see if I can find that picture. Is that it? No. Not that one. I think there's an Instagram picture of it.
So yeah, that was it. So it was like, it was food.
This one? Can you see that?
Columbus Foods. That's the one. I thought it was that.
You seen that yourself? Yeah.
I can't see anything at the moment. I can't see anything on the screen. No.
Oh, can you not see it? Oh, hang on. Sorry, bro. Hang on. Sorry, it's not getting shared. Oh no, that's annoying. No, that's yours there. All right, hang on.
Do I need to remove? No, I shouldn't have to remove that.
Let's try again.
So cutting edge
Yeah.
prowess for both of us, I'm sure.
Okay, this is it. This is what I've been talking. Can you see that? Not even. And now you can. Yeah.
Oh, maybe now. Yeah.
Hang on. So I'll just zoom up a bit. Okay, so what's that? Does that look real? Is that a real picture? Is that AI? Can you see it?
I mean, it's hard to tell from there. I mean, I think it is because this did happen, didn't it? Like the trio meeting. So
Jordan B. Peterson, presumably, he said he must. Yeah, but hang on, Jordan Peterson. Yeah, so this is Jordan B. Peterson's. Apparently, it's his official. So he sent that picture of that happening.
I mean, because like
Shapiro make that what he will,
Shapiro met with Musk and I think also Netanyahu, didn't he, one time, and they were showing Musk around the camps at Auschwitz.
Yeah, they will get their little history lesson, so called. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Yep. So give us your bear then.
So that didn't come up. So yeah, I think you just have to share the screen. I can't share it, can I? Because
you can't. Oh, I'll do it. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Here it is. Yeah. So
yeah, I guess if you just keep it muted. Oh, I have to play it, don't I? Whoops. I'm so used to you playing videos today. Okay. Right. So basically, what you're going to see at the start is obviously a CCTV of the car, and obviously it is a bit grainy, but you see this alleged bear, and this is the scam they tried to pull off. Someone dressed like a bear and pretended to fuck around with his car, and then they tried to claim the insurance on it, and then basically they found the police ended up finding the bear costume at their house. So not only were they stupid enough to think of this as an idea in of itself, they didn't even get rid of the bear costume afterwards. They actually took it back to their house. They didn't even hide it somewhere. They just took it back to their house. So it's pretty idiotic, I can't lie. But let's oh yeah, we got the subtitles coming up as well. So yeah, I mean, already that to me looks kind of like a human moving around. Not
I believe that was a bear if I saw that.
That's definitely a bear, right?
That's
there.
definitely not a bear. It's a bear costume.
So yeah, basically, these people got done for this, and it's just fantastic idea, isn't it? It's foolproof plan.
I still think Jordan Peterson's stupider than those guys. So how much insurance was at stake, do you think?
I don't know, actually. It can't be that much. This is probably like a criminal record.
It doesn't bear thinking about.
It really doesn't, no. That'll have to go down as an excellent pun. But yeah, so, I mean, the car doesn't look like it's going to be fetching that much. It's not really worth it, is it? Let's be fair. But there we go. I mean, yeah, technically speaking, for the depth of it, Jordan Peterson is the bigger idiot just for the sheer depth of it. What even is the bear? What even are they doing there? Like what? It's kind of odd. It's like two ends of the idiot spectrum, isn't it? At one end you got Peterson in a sort of being an intellectual fool, and at the other end you got sort of like these completely anti-intellectual fools here, isn't it? But there we go.
Should we do a musical break? Should we play one of your tracks? Should we play one of your tracks? Like play a bit of music. Let's mix it up. I always want to play.
How though? Sorry, because I haven't sent.
Well, I've got your future shock consciousness final moments. Is that your track?
We can play that. I forgot we still had that. All right,
Let's have a bit of music. Yeah, how long is that track?
That is 6-ish minutes long. I think.
Well, let's have a bit of that, man. I like to hear your stuff anyway. Yeah.
So I will just preface this by saying that this is from 2015. So this track is actually 10 years old. So it's more of a track about vibe than technical production levels. But it actually got to number 3 in the drum and bass chart at Christmas time. We were going for Christmas #1 drum and bass wise.
Really?
We got to number 3 in 2015. So there we go.
All right. Well, thank you for introducing this track, and I'll mute us both, and we'll play that. 6 minutes old. Let's go. Yeah.
All right.
source of mind, right at the source of thought, and it's also at the source of all matter.
Okay, there's a pretty epic track from our friend Future Shock, who's presently unmuted and muted himself. So, in the interim, he's back. Are you right there? Take a bow, man. That's a good track, man.
10 years ago, man. That's crazy to think that's that old now.
I was DJing I did a little DJ thing. Our friend Future up there, and I went to sort of some kind of Radio 2 voice. I don't know what went on there, but yeah, no, very nice. You should send more stuff to the show, and we can play more of your stuff. You know.
Yeah, I'll send you a few more things over later. Yeah, good old David Lynch there on the vocal as well, isn't it? That classic quote of his about golf ball sized consciousness and all that sort of thing.
That was good stuff, man. That was like really trippy. It's like good old days of 90s ambient sort of techno and, you know, sort of trippy music, you know, just ambient stuff. I love ambient jungle. That's my favorite, though. That is my best. That's the best thing for me. I love it. I love ambient techno and ambient jungle.
Yeah, I mean, did you used to listen to, because there's a lot of good ambient stuff jungle wise on Good Looking Records. I don't know, like in the 90s, if you look up stuff that's on Good Looking Records, LTJ Bookham's label, I think you'll like a lot of the stuff on there if you don't know it already.
Are they on Spotify?
They haven't been running the label for about 15 years, but there must be some kind of Spotify thing relating to Good Looking, surely. Yeah.
You're on SoundCloud, aren't you? Because I found one of your tracks on SoundCloud. I think you're on SoundCloud, aren't you?
I could send you a few. I am on SoundCloud. Yeah, I'm a Future Shock on SoundCloud, and I can send you some good looking type related links later on if you can't find anything on Spotify. But yeah, man, it's a ton of amazing like atmospheric drum and bass. It's the first label I got into drum and bass wise, jungle drum and bass wise. Before that, funnily enough, I was listening to techno. I used to listen to The Grid. I used to like The Grid a lot. I don't know if you remember The Grid. They had that banjo song, Swamp Thing.
No, I don't remember, man. Maybe I was too messed up at the time, but I don't remember The Grid.
You will have heard it.
The Pod.
Sure.
The Pod relates to The Grid.
Say again, sorry?
Pod. Do you know The Pod? Do you remember The Pod?
No. Was that like a techno producer?
Yeah, I think there was an egg as well. There was the egg. There was the Pod. And I think some of them weren't quite sort of serious. There was slightly sort of tongue-in-cheek sort of techno outfits or something.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of that in the 90s, wasn't there? Do you remember Techno Heads, I Want to Be a Hippie and all that kind of stuff? That was kind of a bit of a
mini techno, you know. Just found a YouTube thing. Yeah, the Pod, they're piss takers. They're techno piss takers, yeah. If I play that, though, I wonder if I can play that. I'll probably get copyright.
Yeah, probably get copyright, to be honest, yeah.
It's actually got Julian Barrett. Do you know Julian Barrett, that guy from Leeds? I think he's from around, that comedian. Mike.
I'm not sure though.
Yeah, he's in the Pod. I remember I saw them at the Edinburgh Festival once. Yeah.
So they were around in the 90s. They were around the same time as Grid and all that kind of stuff, like sort of
the Grid, yeah.
That's around. Yeah, I think it would be 97. So it was just because, in fact, it was complete luck that I even picked up a jungle, like drum and bass jungle CD for the first time. There used to be one of these sort of independent record shops close to where my school was, and we used to save lunch money, as you did, to get stuff from the record shop. And I went in, I'd saved up, I was going to get a techno mix CD. That was kind of what I had my heart set on. I'd saved up 12 quid for it. Just been eating like packets of beef Space Raiders at lunchtime and saved my lunch money for a bit. Went in, and I used to have one of those ridiculous puffer jackets, really big arms. I ended up knocking off the shelf, this CD, it clattered to the floor, and the guy's looking at me, and I'm like, whoops. Went to pick it up, and it was...
knocked him off in a puffer jacket. Puffer jacket.
My
yeah.
puffer jacket arm knocked this CD off the shelf because
Oh.
it's so big and stupid.
Right.
And it turned out that it was this Jungle Mix CD from LTJ Buckham, and I'd just seen a documentary on the whole thing about a week before. But because I was into techno at the time, I wasn't into jungle, drum and bass, anything like that. I didn't know anything about it. So I was just going to get a techno CD again, another one. And yeah, so I picked it up and I was like, oh yeah, shit, that's the guy from the program. And it was 12 quid as well. So I was like, do you know what? And it had a really nice, fucking really lovely neon blue, dark lit cover. It was a really sick, classic, a classic cover in drum and bass. And so yeah, that sold it to me. And then that was it. From there, I was into jungle drum and bass, and I was buying jungle drum and bass records and CDs and mixtapes, and everything was that. So if I hadn't have knocked that frigging CD off with my stupid big puffer jacket, I might never have gone down that road of jungle drum and bass. I could just still be listening to techno, maybe. It's weird. There's little twists of fate that happen in your life.
Yeah, twist of fate. Yeah. So what got you into drum and bass music? Just what do you like about it? Like the frantic rhythm of it, or?
I think it was just the unusual rhythm in terms of the drums. I mean, I'd like to, because especially with Good Looking, it's very kind of atmospheric. That they're a liquid or intelligent drum and bass label as such, and yeah, it's very atmospheric, spacey, cosmic sounds, but with that chaos, that energy of the drum and bass beat, the jungle beat. So it was just something that was a bit different to what I'd listened to before. I suppose the closest thing to it that I'd listened to before was maybe Prodigy, things like No Good Start the Dance, or any like kind of times Prodigy. And I think also I knew Incredible by General Levy, which was a jungle track that came out, but it hadn't sort of spurred me on as such. So yeah, I don't know, that was it. And then that was what, when I was 13, something like that. So yeah, and then that just set me on the next sort of 30 odd years or so of raving and all that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
So as a young, did you go to, was the Blue Note still around in Shoreditch when you were in London?
No, I think so that's one of the ones I regret not being able to get to.
Yeah, that was the best place, man. Amazing.
Yeah,
like a chill. In those days, they had a chill out room, and everyone was just pilling. Just that's what he did. And if you want to listen to that music, good luck being drunk. Do you know what I mean? You're just gonna make me be sick and just be a bit weird. But it was just like good, and it was kind of. But then you'd go to the chill out room, and it was like everyone's like it's just like being in a festival or something. You could like it's all drapes on the ceiling. It was all about just like maximum sort of relaxation. Because everyone was in there was like really high and just wanted to lie down. Do you know what I mean? So you got like banging like mad beats. Or sometimes though, if the problem is if the guest DJ was like officially like particularly sort of snobby, he'd make that the VIP area and it'd be closed. So the chill out room would be closed because like the VIP DJ was using it and you couldn't go in, which is annoying. But that do you ever go to any good clubs you remember back in the day?
So yeah, I was going to say when you were talking about it, I mean, it's reminding me of, I still was fortunate enough to get down to London in time for Classic Nights at the End, Turnmill. In fact, no, not Turnmills.
Turnmills, yeah.
I didn't make it.
That was back in the day. That was a good place, yeah.
The End, there was Under the Arches, there was Herbal, and then obviously early Fabric. Obviously, it was different. Obviously, the same layout as it is now, but it was quite different back then. Fabric, the way it was, the ethos of it, and the attitudes there. These days, obviously, it's a way stricter kind of environment than it was back then, if you know what I mean. So yeah. What else? What other clubs were there? I'm just trying to think. I mean, we were at the End a lot. That's a miss. I mean, they tried to reopen it as the Den in about 2011 or something like that, and they just never I don't know what happened with it specifically, but it never took off. So that's a shame. The End was such a classic club. You had the dance, it had the DJ booth in the middle of the dance floor, so you sort of circled the DJ, and it just made for some amazing vibes there. What else did you have? I feel like I'm missing out an obvious one. Egg's quite good. Have you been to Egg? That still exists. That's one that's sort of stood the test of time a bit, same as Fabric. But we've lost a lot of them, haven't we? We've lost a lot of clubs. I think we've still got places like Village Underground, but we lost Printworks. That was a more modern one, but there's a lot of places that have closed down. The end was years ago. You know, the last end night was probably like 2009 or something. Yeah, it's a shame, man. It's a shame.
So is there still like a market for this music though? Like that's the thing, is it's like a what night do you play nights? Have you got some like other things in London going on that play the ambient jungle drum and bass music? You know?
So I've got a night. It's kind of like unconfirmed and confirmed. I just haven't sorted the date out yet, basically. But I've got a night that I'm playing, funnily enough, a good-looking record set. So the label I've just been mentioning, I'm doing a vinyl set at Planet Wax, which is basically a record shop that has a dance floor in it. So it's a small venue, but it's quite a fun venue. It's quite a vibey venue when it packs out. So yeah, that's a rare vinyl.
Do you want to promote that? Do you want to give us the dates? Or
I don't know. That's the thing. So I don't know the actual specific date yet. It's going to be in September, apparently. That's all I know. So obviously, I will disclose more as I know it. But that'll be quite fun because I haven't done a vinyl. I've been doing timecode vinyl, but I haven't done an old school vinyl set live for God knows, like 10, 15 years. So yeah, that'll be fun.
Southeast London, yeah?
Yeah, it's
I just looked it up.
It's southeast, basically. It's quite near Dartford. I think it's near Dartford-ish.
Near where? It's like New Cross, I think.
No, hang on. I need to double check.
Yeah.
I've never been there before, so I think it's sort of southeast. Sorry, anyway. So, but yeah, so I will come to that later on. But yeah, it's right what you say though about it's a salient point what you say though about the clubs and you know the vibe that it was, the vibe that you're describing there from Blue Note is that classic vibe that we
so laid back, yeah,
in the noughties, and
the smoking ban is like just like it like, because like everywhere that was cool in London, like in like Hackney and stuff, they'd always have like upstairs bar, they'd have like an open air bar where like terrace, and it was just like hippies, and it was just like, but the kind of people who smoke like that, whatever we want to say, the stuff, it's like they were a subculture, you know, and they were like, you know, they were free living type people, and it was like, but that just whether you agree with that, you know, smoking or not, but it's the fact that cultures have been wiped out because of this, just because of the smoking ban of one thing. But like we talked about this last week, how there's no, like, you don't see any hippies anymore. You know what I mean? There's no crusties, there's no goths, there's no punks, there's no cool people anymore. You know, everyone's just fucking the same, like corporate machines.
Don't know what they
are
doing.
About work, paying the bills, you know.
Or people classify themselves as about 10 or 12 different things, and it's all a little bit chaotic and confusing and stuff. But also, a problem for the clubs these days is I think that the prominence of the internet became a bit more of a problem as people became, as over the years, you know, because obviously the 90s and early noughties, internet was a thing, but it wasn't like it is now, obviously. It's progressed so much since then. And people's reliance on it and time spent with it is way, way, way higher now than obviously it was back then. So, you know, that means that less people are just going out, less people are going to clubs, that people are enjoying things. They're just staying in, and they've got the ease of being able to watch Netflix and whatnot, which you didn't. We
always hoped it would all come back again. You know, that's like, because at the tail end of the rave scene, you'd like look into each other's eyes, and you'd know that it's all ending, or it's already ended, and you're just the tail end of it. And you would always, like, ravers and stuff would say, "Look, don't worry, mate, it'll come back. It'll all come back again." You know, and I don't know if that's like a 30-year plan. They still got their, like, you know, their raving outfit on, but waiting for it to come back again. You know,
can bring it back.
There was faith that it would all, that somehow we'd get culture back, and we'd get youth culture back, and we'd just have something that the authorities didn't like, and it was something that came up from just creative artists and stuff, and it became a whole subculture, and it's just better days back then, man, you know. And we always hoped it would come back, you know, but I don't think it will it?
I mean, you can bring it back to some degree, but because of everything, because the rules are different now in terms of like the actual laws of this country as well, and the laws of like licensing and stuff like this are not the same laws as they were 20 years ago, and everything's a lot more stricter. You know,
I went on that protest against the criminal justice bill, because that was one of the things the Conservative government used to stop like travellers and people living alternative lifestyles. It was the criminal justice bill, and I went on a big like but I want to march. It was quite, because I was also studying at university, and they were talking about something called like virtual autonomous zones, where for a few minutes you've got absolute freedom to do what you want, but it's only for a few minutes, and it's during a march. It was during those kind of protests of the late 90s, you know, where there'd be like 100,000 people in the streets, and it was people used to get the people digging up the motorway and planting trees and stuff like that. You know, those old protests from the 90s. Remember those times?
See, I would be a teenager in Yorkshire at that time, so I wasn't paying so much attention.
Yeah, man.
Like, he didn't have protests where I was just like cows.
But yeah, that's it. The criminal justice bill and I went through, and it's just stopped people congregating, stopped people partying. You couldn't group more than like 14 people together with like God knows, like it all became like really like you have to have a license for gatherings and parties and things like that. You know, commercial parties and things. It just effed everything up, man. Yeah.
I mean, in this country at the moment, it's a long time before we would get sort of like quote unquote back to where we were. I mean, I'm just fortunate. You're talking about the tail end. That's kind of how I see myself in terms of coming down London, catching the tail end of a kind of golden era of rave, of the club scene, of the freedom.
And the indie music, I mean, everything was just blazing. Everything was good. All the music, do you know what I mean? It was all the genres, you know, it was amazing.
True. It goes back to what we were saying about the 90s, and we can extend that into the noughties a little bit, I think, as well. Certainly for the music side of things, because I think that, across all the genres, you had so much. It was such a balance. I think I said this before last week on the show about the 90s. It just seems to be this place of balance, like where sufficiently advanced technology with sufficiently advanced sort of social consciousness and all this kind of stuff. It just balanced really well in that it was before we became too sort of obsessive and reliant on the internet and technology and stuff like that. But we were kind of getting there. We were kind of making use of it, good use of it, but it wasn't so detrimental as it can be now. So I just think it was just such a perfect balance. And whether we can get back to that or whether we'll get something better, maybe, is another question, really.
All right, man. I'm going to wrap this up because the snooker's on, man. Are you watching the snooker?
I'm not, but I'm pretty frigging hungry, man. So yeah, we'll wrap up in a minute or so.
Oh man, but your drum and bass track was awesome, man. Get some more over. We'll dot a few among us, have a little breather and play these great tracks, man. They're awesome, and it really fits with the theme. Fits with the theme of the show, like consciousness and ultimate realities and all sorts. It's a really cool track, man.
Cool, man. I have a few in mind I can send you, so I'll make a note.
We'll do them next week. Cool.
Is this snooker? I do sometimes watch like the latter ends of the snooker tournaments. Is it like a final or a semi-final or something?
That's the World Championship, and I think it's the second week. I think it's the last ends next Saturday. If I'm in the mood, I love a bit of snooker. I do. I just love it. I
like watching the last sort of like rounds or like the semi and the final, and it's really super. Everything's
second
really
round. I think we're at now. Something.
Sorry.
I'm on these. We watch a snooker stream like somewhat illicit on Kick, and I've got all these these people who know me, and we've been like, they know me as Truth Spoon, and we've been like chatting online while watching the snooker for years. And the best way to any sport is with a chat box. It's so much fun, just perpetual commentary on the action and just taking the piss and having a bit of fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah. To be honest with you, I kind of have done that with football. It's just a little bit tricky with football, but yeah, I don't have anyone that I kind of watch. Sometimes I'll be WhatsApping people, but no, it is. What was I going to say? Sorry. That it is more fun. Thing is with the football ones, you get a lot of people. If you're going in like chat rooms when you're watching them on like borrowed streams or such, you get like a load of videos there. But yeah, no, it's fun, man. It's good fun. I mean, snooker. I've always found snooker. Have you played snooker before, by the way?
Yeah, I've played snooker. Yeah,
you appreciate it once you played it because you already know it looks difficult before, right? But when you have played it and then you see what these guys do, man, you have such an appreciation for the skill that's required.
I think we went into that a bit. We talked about archery. Was it last week when we said about you getting into that zone? And it's I look at Ronnie O'Sullivan. He's a classic example of his ultimate opponent is himself. He's such a great character. I mean, if he's he'll go off, he'll shave his head or he'll he'll snap his cue, or he'll snot, or he'll bite off the tip of his cue, or he's just so funny. I just love these theatrics of his career, you know.
It's
The
crazy.
latest one was that he was snotting all over and blowing his nose. It really pissed off Ali Carter. I think it was the Masters last year, you know. The year before, I think it would have been, yeah. Just doing disgusting things, Ronnie O'Sullivan, but he can play really well or really badly depending on his mind, and it's beyond matter. Do you know what I mean? These sports, I think, you know, it's like, yeah.
Well, there's almost kind of like a will or a sort of belief and will. I remember when I've been playing pool, again, this might have been what we mentioned last week, but playing pool stoned kind of did that for me, like almost predicting the shots in as opposed to playing the shot in a way. It's hard to explain, but yeah, there's a kind of there's a will side of it that seems to come in.
There is, absolutely. And there's the confidence side, isn't there? All of those inscrutable elements that you have to be a sportsman or something successful. It's confidence, it's will. And they're inscrutable quantities. No one can give you a Coca-Cola, a fizzy drink with those that will give you those vitamins you need to get those things, you know.
Oh yeah. It's not something you can kind of like take in a well, maybe you can take in a pill. Someone can maybe do that, but yeah, it's difficult to reproduce fully for sure. All right, man.
All right, on that note, I'll play the music and we'll say goodnight to all the children tumbling around the universe everywhere. Okay.
Yeah, we bless to all those people tumbling. You know, you keep tumbling. You don't have much choice, but you know, yeah.
Let's just tumble on, yeah.
All right, man.
Until next week, we'll keep tumbling, yeah.
We will be back again at 6 p.m. next Sunday with more cosmic oddities and
bits and bobs. All right. Ciao. Bye bye.